Hello and welcome to The Toughest Choice. I'm Stephanie Reynolds. I'm beyond thrilled today to have Mindy Geisser with us. Mindy has been the Chief People Services Officer for Savers for almost 10 years, going on 10 years next month. Mindy has more than 2 decades of senior executive leadership in HR for companies in addition to Savers like Colliers International and Amazon. And she is committed to all things recruitment, training, team member relations, employee relations, building and developing capabilities. And that's at the heart of what she loves the most. And she is also an advocate for further diversity and inclusion and ensuring a respectful workplace, and then carries those people-centric strategies to help shape the growth and positive impact of her company. So welcome, Mindy. So thrilled to have you here today.
Oh, thanks, Steph. I'm honestly honored and thrilled to be here and thrilled to be invited.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you have so much experience in not just HR, but senior leadership. And that's why, knowing you as I have, fortunately, for all these years, I figured it out. I think we started connecting in 2001. So we go back a ways, which is wonderful. And in all the years we've known each other, I never asked you very much about like what drew you into leadership. I'd love to hear about that, but before I do, tell us about your role at Savers. Tell us a little bit about Savers. Some folks may not realize how huge Savers is.
Yeah, Savers Value Village stores, super interesting place. And I have, like you said, I can't believe my 10-year anniversary with Savers, such fun and truly a company that speaks to my heart. I mean, from the first moment I heard about Savers and I got a recruiter call about it, I looked at my husband and said, that's my job. I want that. I want to work for them. And I think, it's easy to be excited about the work that I do when I'm excited about the work that the company does. And so I get the joy of sitting in the chair every day to help make that happen and to figure out the how. But the what is just super cool at Savers. So, I mean, Savers, we have over 350 stores now around US, Canada, and Australia. We employ over 23,000 people. And we believe that secondhand is second nature. We keep billions of pounds out of the landfill over the years. We partner with hundreds of different nonprofit partners. We've paid hundreds of billions of dollars to them over the course of the years. And it's about finding a second opportunity for goods and things that to be loved again and to keep them out of the landfill. And how can you not feel good about that? It's about doing something good for the planet, for the environment. It's about supporting our communities, providing employment for all these people, and doing something that's just so interesting. The way we do it in the world is complicated and messy and fun and awesome. And so Savers is a very cool company. I'm thrilled to be a part of it. Absolutely love it, and love to be sitting in a chair where I get to figure out the how and the people side, which is kind of what compels me every day. And for now decades of working in the human resources field.
Yeah, well, and knowing you as I do, I know that's who you really are. And to be involved in an organization that does employ so many and at the same time, like you're saying, does such good for the environment and also for those people. I know a lot of folks, who knew folks that needed to go to a Savers to be able to get nice things, to be able to find treasures that they might not be able to afford elsewhere. So it serves the community in that way, in such a big way, right?
Well, for sure. And I think what's really fun about thrift today is it's not just for people who are need shoppers. For sure, it's for them. It's also for people who are resellers. It's also for people that are just looking for the treasure hunt. It
Yes.
speaks to different people in different demographics, depending on, what you love. But I mean, thrift in and of itself, it is good for the environment and it's good for for the world. And it does serve a lot of different audiences that might surprise you.
Really glad you mentioned that. And my daughter wouldn't shop anywhere else when she was in college and also as a young adult and goes still. So thank you for pointing that out. So tell me, I mean, you've been in leadership now from the day I met you, and I know prior to that. So tell me what drew you to be a leader.
So that's funny. I don't know if you wake up in the morning one day. I asked my husband, this question, did I aspire to leadership early on? I think, look, I've had a lot of energy from the beginning. I love business. I love learning about business. And when I'm so compelled by the business, I love the puzzle of figuring out how to help us get there and how to help us get better. I'm a continuous improvement girl. I mean, corporate girl, been in big companies for a long time. And so I think I was always excited about, okay, what we're doing is cool. How can we keep getting better? How do we continuously improve? How do we take it to the next level? And how do we help both people and companies win? And so I think for me, that's what's the interesting crossroads and the dimension that makes the job so fun is I get to think about the business every day and the people every day, which is really what I get up in the morning and go to bed at night thinking about is the people side. And so I think how I became a leader was organic. I think it evolved naturally because I had the energy for it, the enthusiasm for it. And I liked bringing people together toward a common vision. And okay, that's the mountain, let's go. That's the one we're going to take. Let's all go there. And so it was exciting for me to kind of bring people together and bring people on the journey and help make them better and the business better at the same time. I keep thinking that is I want to help the company win, but I really want to help people win. I want to help people develop and grow and get better and stretch and thrive and become, that thing that they dreamed that they could be, or that person, or do that job or whatever it is to help people expand. And so I think those things allowed me to evolve in my career to the next opportunity. Hey, Mindy, would you like to do this? How about, then now trying this? And so I think it happened naturally. I don't think I woke up one morning and said, I think I want to be a leader. How do I get there? It evolved to that, but I love it. I love being able to guide people and to partner with people and to collaborate with people to be on the journey.
Well, that sounds very natural, and it sounds like a natural extension of who you are. So that's so consistent. So let's take that a little bit further if we can, because a lot of folks that listen in and have written in, they really appreciate understanding people's story and their history and some of the tough things they face, but they also want to understand how people operationalize their leadership. And so, how would you characterize? So, you started to talk about what sounds like your philosophy. How would you characterize your leadership philosophy? And if you can help us dig in a little bit into how you operationalize that could be really helpful for folks.
Sure, sure. Well, I think, I don't know, maybe this is an overused term, and I think that a lot of people have known it, but I learned about it years ago, and I still believe it today, which is servant leadership. We wake up in the morning in that upside down pyramid where it's not the executives at the top and the people at the bottom. We need to kind of live to serve the people in the organization. And in an organization like ours, which is retail, it's all about the people. We got a lot of people, and we got a lot of labor in our stores and a lot of people on our P&L. And so honestly, we can't run stores without the people. So you get up every morning realizing, look, I'm here to serve them. They're not here to serve me. We're all here to serve customers, but I'm here as a sort of an internal consultant to the business, an advisor and support to the business to serve the people in the organization. So I get up every morning thinking about it. Like, how can I serve the people? What is it that in order to serve the company? So I think the key is to not forget the other part. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm here to help the company grow and flourish and thrive and aspire to the next big, step in its evolution. That's what I'm here to do. But the way I do it is through the people. And so I do get up every morning thinking about how am I going to serve the people and what can I do to ensure that we are creating, and not just creating, but sustaining the right environment for them to feel good, feel productive, feel engaged, feel successful, grow their careers, and then create the right environment for a customer or a donor that might be coming into our store. And that really applies to every business I've been in. At the end of the day, I get paid to sit in the chair that is about people. And I'm so thrilled with that. I wouldn't want any other chair. I love this chair. And because I love thinking about the people all day and figuring out what is it that they need and how do they want to be led, not how I think we should lead, but
there you go. Thank you.
It's that I can treat you the way I think I would like to be treated, but really I should probably understand how you want to be treated and then do that. and then meet you where you are and figure out how to help you feel engaged and feel respected and feel appreciated and feel recognized and feel that there's opportunity for you for growth here if that's what you aspire to. So I think I go back to servant leadership. I think I get up every morning to serve them, and I'm super clear on that. And then I also believe that you don't ask people to do what you wouldn't do. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if we've got a whole bunch of, I think about issues that have come up through the years and me needing to reach down and start drafting letters or sorting paychecks or doing whatever needed to be done in order to manage a crisis at hand, or like, I can't ask you to do something that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. If you needed help, I'd be sitting next to you saying, how can I help you? What can I do to serve you? If you're short people, if you're short time, if you're have too much pressure, how can I help you? What can I relieve? And so I do believe in that. Look, I'm here to help you. I'm on your team. I get to sit in a chair which is identified as a leadership chair, but I'm on the team, and I'm here to help you, and I'm gonna do whatever it is that needs to be done if that's the space that we're in. I think it's how you treat people. I mean, I do at the beginning and the end of the day, it's about the people.
Thank you. I love hearing those very clear intentions and then actions, because the actions I'm hearing, that are really about walking the talk. And it's really about, like you're saying, if I've got to sort paychecks, that's what I'm going to do. It's holding a space that really honors that it's the team, like you said, and it's not, I'm up here, you're down there. I think that's the example that we really need going forward. So thank you for that. And thank you for practicing that way, because I know you touch a lot of people and then they touch people.
Like I said to you before we started today, I think I could ask you the same questions and learn just as much from you. I mean, because you've been in, a space of knowing so many people, guiding so many people, coaching so many people. You've sat in a chair like mine. You've done so much. So I think we all learn from each other. So I'm always honored to be in a room with someone who inspires me as you do, and
Wow.
as you have through the years. And I think it's about authentic leadership too. I think as I listen to you, one of the things I've loved about you for years is you are, genuine and kind and authentic in who you are and what you say and what you believe. And I try and practice that every day as well. I think people would say, look, for good or bad, I know where Mindy stands. I know what she's doing, and I'm pretty authentic with that. Like if I'm happy with the direction, I'm going to celebrate it with people. If I'm not happy, I'm going to tell you why I think we're off course and then help you get back on course. But I think, it's easy for me to practice this stuff because it is authentically who I am. I don't have to get up and pretend and put a hat on and say, okay, today I get to be me. And yesterday I was me, and tomorrow I'm going to be me. And that's pretty great. And if the me helps us get better, my cup is full, right? I'm fulfilled.
Thank you. And I think what you just touched upon, the authenticity that's it. It's everything. And because people can feel it when you're not, they know it's visceral.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's one thing to say, I don't, if I like what's happening, I'm going to celebrate with you. If I don't, you're going to know where I stand. I also heard you say, and if you're off course, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to help you get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
That is also one of those operating principles that so often leaders feel they don't have the time to invest in. And I think don't realize that that's really the shortest distance between 2 points. Sometimes people can't get back on track, but if you don't help them or try to help them get there, then you're not really doing that leadership responsibility job.
No, okay. So I got to tell you a little story. I was in a talent review a couple of years ago. In every business I've been in, you do some sort of a performance talent review every year. And we were talking about leaders, and I've learned a lot about retail in my 10 years. I didn't come here with any retail experience, and retail's a different bucket, right? It's a different kind of a place. It's super fun. And, but it's got a different dynamic to it, like every business does. And we were talking about a particular store manager, and it was in Canada. The country leader was talking about, I don't know if I can do justice to the exact words he said, but his philosophy was sometimes the leader is so stuck and so far down in the hole, you got to help him fill the hole and get out of the hole, and then see if he can then thrive once you filled the hole. But sometimes people are so stuck that you got to sort of send in the troops to help them get back to level, to get back to that level set point, and then they can thrive from there. So it was a great lesson for me in recognizing that you got to know where people are and how much help do they need to get back on track. Sometimes it's enough to say, hey, Steph, I need you to do A, B, and C, and you're going to be back on track. And you say, okay, Mindy, got it. Check. Good. But sometimes, even though you know those things, there's 10 other things pressing on you. And retail is particularly multifaceted with, a chaos to it on a day-to-day basis, running a store where you've got a lot of competing priorities. And so I loved this philosophy of sometimes you got to help them fill in the hole and get them back to ground level and then see if they can thrive. So it's that comment about helping people get back on track. And it doesn't look the same for everybody. Some people just need a little bit of a piece of encouragement and they can get there. And some people need more helping hands. And I think it's up to us as leaders to recognize, where are they? And then how do we meet them where they are? How much help do they need? It's so funny how these morsels in time really stick with you. And I've thought of that moment so many times. Okay, do I need to send in people to help them fill the hole? Or do I just need to explain how we might fill the hole and talk to them and they can do it themselves? It's a really great assessment to make about people and where they are.
I'm going to remember that. I've never heard that expression before either. And I just love, it's so relatable. And then I hope that some of our leaders listening to this will step back and kind of consider both and really assess from giving it more time to understand what's needed and the level of help that's needed. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a good analogy.
So I know we could talk about 100 things in that space. I'm going to keep us talking and shifting on. And so I'd like to ask you about your successes, a leadership success or two that stand out for you that you feel really good about.
I think that there are probably pivotal moments in everyone's career that you feel super excited about. I think what comes to mind, because it's a more recent one, though I think there have been hopefully a lot of successes along the way, but I think the one that comes to mind is, 2 years ago, June 2023, we went public. We took the company public. And the reason that this comes to mind is not because it was a big Mindy Geisser success, because it was a great Savers Value Village success. And it was the team. It was the collaboration. I mean, people that have experienced the thrill and the exhaustion, frankly, of going public know that you don't decide on Tuesday you're going public and on Friday you go, right? It's a journey. It is a path that you take over time to plan and prepare to go public. But what a thrilling moment to be able to stand at the New York Stock Exchange and see the tickers switch and it to say Savers Value Village and the whole thing's red and all of our, people are there. And you have this moment of, oh my God, this was such a team success. And that I love more than anything. It's not, again, not about me. It's about us. It's about we. It's about the collaboration. It's about the hard work and the preparation and the thought and the diligence and the persistence that went into getting us to that moment. And it's a measurable moment, right? You see your ticker symbol, you see the people standing there, you see all the excitement and the celebration, and you have this moment that you can take a breath and say, okay, this was a cool achievement. This was a cool achievement and I look around the room and I see all the people and the interesting pieces that they held to make that possible. And I felt so proud to be among them.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I think that's a lot of why people go to work and why people go to work in organizations. Yes, there's all kinds of personal development and there's growth and there can be money and there can be, all kinds of, gifts and opportunities that come from it. But this experience of being able to go over this huge hurdle, I've been close enough to organizations and leaders trying to get their companies public, some who have and some who haven't. and how difficult and complicated that is. So the gratification that you're describing is we won. We did this.
We
We
did
did it
it.
together.
And it's not even, regardless of what happens tomorrow about the stock price or what happens or how the market likes it or doesn't like it, so thrilling because I could literally look at the faces of my colleagues and know what they did. And the other cool thing was we had a dinner at the stock exchange, and people's families were there sitting next to them. And it was so great to be able to look at someone's wife and say, your husband has worked so hard. We're so proud of him. And thank you for allowing us to be able to take a bit of his time and his mind share and his brilliance to be able to get us here. I mean, I met people's moms and dads and children and it was so lovely because it's a moment of celebration. It's not about the money. It's not about the stock price. It's about this is a culmination of a lot of hard work, and each one of you contributed to it. And it was unbelievable. It was a moment for sure that it stands out in my career as a thrilling opportunity to have the honor and the joy of being just in the room with those people and know that I had just a small slice of contribution that helped us get there. That's thrilling.
Oh, that's a fabulous example and story. Thank you for sharing that. And so, on the other hand, there are times when we learn, right? We stub our toes and have less successful or unsuccessful moments. And I'd love to hear what occurs to you about that.
So, when I think about look, so many learnings, I've been doing this work. I was thinking, oh, gosh, more than 3 decades in human resources. That's how old I am. And but I still, it's funny, I still feel really energized by it. And I don't dwell on the bad days. I mean, I think you remember the good days. You remember the thrilling moments and the excitement and the successes and the achievements and how you were overcoming barriers. But I think what I do remember is the struggles, the challenges, the most difficult decisions. Again, I'm not surprising in the seat I sit, but they're about people. At the end of the day, it's about how we impact people. And there were times where we maybe picked the wrong person or put them on the wrong seat on the bus and they weren't as successful as we hoped they would be. We invited maybe some of the wrong people into the organization, be it timing or whatever else. And sometimes we exited people from organizations, and boy, those are always tough moments. And I had a mentor once tell me, and I'm sure you and I have had these conversations along the way too, but boy, the day that you don't feel sad and you don't feel something in your heart when you have to exit people from an organization is the day it's time to retire. I
Yeah,
mean, you've been
that's
doing this too.
powerful.
Yeah, that's just the truth. And I've yet to find a day where my heart didn't, bleed for people who were losing their jobs or who were exiting in a way that wasn't as they had hoped. My job in this seat is to understand where the organization is going and figure out how to do it in the most respectful way and with empathy and kindness and compassion. That's not hard for me to muster. I wake up with it. And so it's authentic and I really believe it. And so I think the leadership struggles are the ones where you have to impact people in a way that can be hard. And I think, in the last couple of years, we've had a lot of those. The world has had a lot of those. The economy has had some of those. COVID created some of those. Holy moly. And some really tough moments. So I think, but again, it comes back to people. It comes back to how you're impacting people. And I think the successes and the failures are when you can exit someone and they still feel good about themselves and about you as an organization because we've been respectful and it's been a mutually understandable outcome where people can feel they can keep their dignity, they can keep their skills and their attitude in a positive way. And those are the best successes and the failures.
Thank you for sharing that. You're in good company here. When I ask these questions of leaders that are on this podcast because of who they are, because of how they lead, because of caring so much about people outcomes, that is always what they feel the worst about. And it's always what comes up. And there are times when it's been at their own, they've made the error in hiring, or even if they haven't, they've had to, take the action. And I think it does make a huge difference for people if they know that there's true, authentic caring on the other side. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Okay, Steph, can I tell you another little story? This
Yes,
is one
please.
that I'll take with me my whole life. I worked for a manufacturing company that you know well years ago, and they sent me to a location in the Midwest, and I had to close the whole facility. And I had been there, and I was early in my career. I mean, in my first 10 years for sure. And I think I was in a manager level, and it was a facility that had been for years. In fact, some of the team members that worked there, they had generations working there. Like the kids worked there, the parents worked there, the grand. I mean, it was crazy. And I don't remember. It was hundreds of people, maybe 800 people, something like that. And it was rough. I was struggling. And I mean, look, you go in, you do the things that you have to do. And I remember on my last day there, before I left to go back to headquarters, they gave me a party and a
Oh,
cake and a cake.
oh,
And I had tears in my eyes. Like I have tears in my eyes even thinking about it now. Like,
they
what?
gave you a cake.
Yes. And I said, like, what is happening right now? And it was, thank you so much for coming with your heart and your kindness to do something that must have been so hard.
Oh,
And I thought, oh my God, who are these people? They are so amazing and so kind and so compassionate. But those are the lessons you take forever with you that, okay, I can do something super hard, but I can do it in a way that demonstrates that I care about people. So that's a great example of success and failure. It's a failure. The business has to close. I don't know if it's a failure, but it's an evolution of the business such that we have to close this business. And that's never an easy thing to do. But I think it's the how that you do it is where the success can come. And I will forever remember the moment.
how could you not? I mean, 800 people, and then to have them respond to you with such
Yeah.
appreciation. That's almost like, are we having the same conversation here?
Oh, yeah. This is a Twilight Zone moment. Like,
Yeah.
is this happening right now? Like, how is this happening?
Yeah, and so to get that feedback, that you're caring came across in such a way that they, were able to hold and accept at least the transitional process.
Yeah.
How they may, whatever they tell themselves about why it closed, what am I going to do now? That giving of yourself in that way is huge. And I think, so many leaders that I've had the privilege of working with take that point of view. Those that struggle and don't want to show their feelings because they feel like they're going to fall apart, or they don't want to make it about themselves. They don't realize that by being open in their heart without making it their fault if it isn't, okay, is really the key.
No, that's exactly right. And I've been lucky. I've had great mentors along the way, people like you and others who have shown me that it's, the authenticity is welcomed. And I do think that what happened when I left that facility was a positive reflection of me, a positive reflection of my department, a positive reflection on the company and the way, I mean, that facility was unionized, and I did the effects bargaining with the union and shook all their hands, and we all agreed mutually. It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal moment. And I think I've carried that with me in every job that, look, you can do really difficult things, but, if you demonstrate heart and you're truly authentically compassionate to people and
Yes,
empathetic to people, it makes the impossible possible, is what it does.
it's a great example. Great example. Thank you for sharing that. I'm really moved by it. I'm like 800 people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it
That,
was a
I
moving
mean,
moment.
I've like maybe done, 100 at a given time, but 800, it's so huge. So I really appreciate it. Okay, well, then let's go a little deeper. The name of this podcast is The Toughest Choice. And as people who've listened in know, this is about, having to pull away from the status quo or make decisions that were difficult in the face of loss or fear or risk, and potentially making those decisions when things maybe weren't clear about what was going to happen and for yourself. And so I'm curious for you, what has bubbled up for you in terms of a toughest choice moment for you?
Oh my gosh, Steph. I think probably I share this in common with a lot of other leaders, but COVID is what comes to mind when I hear your words about the toughest choice. Oh my gosh. And not knowing what to expect and not knowing what the outcomes are and not knowing how long this is going to last. And I mean, it was a crazy time. And for all of us, I remember getting on the phone every week with other CHROs and talking about, okay, how are you doing this? What do you think about this? And like, there was so much collaboration and so much sort of sharing of ideas and mutual tears and sadness. And I mean, the whole thing was just so I think what comes to mind to me, and I think about the leaders that I sat next to here and how much they inspired me too with their own compassion and empathy. I mean, we had to shut down all of our stores in a weekend. We had to lay off 20,000 some people. We had to close stores and figure out how to navigate this crisis, not knowing, well, how long are they going to need to be closed? We want to get all these people back. And how are we going to help these people take care of them while they're, while they're sequestered in their homes? And people didn't really know, was there going to be enough vaccine? Were people going to be super ill? Were people going to pass? I mean, there were so many unknowns. And at the end of the day, like, I was lucky to be sitting next to a CEO and other executives here that were compassionate. And literally we in a weekend, we had to talk to all these people. We had to figure out what we were going to do with all of these people. And I remember, the Sunday morning, we worked all weekend. Literally, I think I was home for a few hours to sleep each night. We worked all weekend. And because we knew that we had to close the stores and we were trying to figure out how to do it in the most effective way and what could we do for the people. And I remember by Sunday morning, the last group was my team, because of course my team's helping everyone else. And I have to get on the phone with my team and tell them, look, this is what's going to happen. Some people are being laid off. Some people are going to work part-time in a hybrid capacity. Some people are, there's a lot of different statuses of people going on. And I remember I had kind of a script in front of me because I was so exhausted and heartbroken. And my boss, our CEO, who was new to the organization within 6 months now, and he comes into the conference room with me and he says, okay, give me your narrative. And if you can't get through it, I'll take over. And I said, okay. And so I get on the phone and we're together, but no one's, we were kind of in the same pod because we were working on all this stuff, but everyone else is at home, remember, because it's COVID time. And I go through this speech and I'm choked up a couple times and I'm having trouble getting through it. And at the end of it, and we hang it, and I looked over at him and he's got tears running down his face. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're
the one who was going to step in.
My back. And but I look, I think there's a lot of power in crying together and celebrating together and showing. And so my point in sharing that is, look, being given the permission to show the emotion of the moment and the absolute burden and the heaviness of sadness of what we're doing and how can we help all these people and how to, and then the support I got to, ensure that we could keep everyone's benefits going and that we could support people in that way. And all the things we did to support people, both from the family side to the mental health and tools for their own well-being and all those things. I got so much support to do those things because we were a company that cares about people. And so, boy, when I think about the toughest choices, COVID stands out and so many choices that we had to make.
Absolutely. Oh, the thing that's occurring to me so much as I listen to you is this thread of humanity, this thread of humaneness, this thread of community in the workplace and being authentic. I mean, yes, he was the one who was supposed to be, supporting you, but yet to see that, to see that genuine emotion coming from your CEO.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, we all shared tears together. We do have a core value in the company called, do the right thing. And we do live it every day. We think about it all the time. What's the right thing to do? We ask it out loud all the time. We think about, okay, but in the end, what's really the right thing to do? That guides us in our decisions. And when you can start with that, really kind of the rest of it falls in place. Truly. I mean, we make tough decisions every day, for sure. It's not all, oh, so sweet and we love everyone. And look, the reality is we're a publicly traded company and we're in growth mode. And so you got to make tough decisions. But I also think if you start with a platform, if the foundation of your house is solid, it's easier to build a great house, right? And if the foundation of your house is let's do the right thing by people, let's celebrate the uniqueness of those people, let's continue to find better ways to do things, let's be sure that we're making service count because we're in the service business as a retailer, and then let's make an impact on the world. Those are our values. That's the foundation of the house right there. And then let's champion reuse. That's our purpose. So if you do all of that, and if that's your foundation, you're going to have a great house. And then you got a lot of smart people here and innovative people that are always thinking about, how do we do this better and differently? And again, back to the idea of finding success and failure. So we laid all these people off. We had to close these stores. And what did we do? We hunkered down, dug in, and thought about how to reinvent this business. So when the time comes to reopen, don't know when that is yet. At the moment, we didn't know how long it was going to be. Let's use our brain power and our energy to figure out how we're going to do this differently and better as we reopen. And I think that was a tremendous success as an organization, led by a CEO and a C-suite team of brilliant people, and then led by a team of people that is so agile and so willing to try different things and innovate and reinvent. We're a 70-year-old business. Yeah, we're constantly.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, it's super cool. Started as a family-owned business. Evolution, largest for-profit thrift retailer in North America today. I mean, super interesting growth trajectory, and a lot of that comes from, like I said, that amazing foundation, and then the willingness to keep reinventing and innovating and being agile and flexible and using those toughest moments to think differently about the future. And I think that's the recipe for success.
Yeah. There's so much here, and hearing you talk about those values, Savers values, on the heels of this conversation, which now, if you sat there and said what the values were at the beginning, people would be nodding. Yeah, I've heard those, before, but it sounds like the talk is really walked. There is walk.
Sure.
And that's where I think people resonate so much to, and need so much. This is my opinion. I think this, intensity, the intention, the caring, the hard work, the reinvention is what keeps people engaged in wanting to move forward together. Because, everybody's rolling their sleeves up to make it happen. And it's not just about somebody getting a bonus or getting a promotion.
Exactly right. It's about how do we make this thing better? How do we continue to grow? How can we do it differently? How can we continuously improve? Where does innovation come in? Where are those things that have been sort of pillars of our success for so long that maybe aren't going to be pillars in the future, that we need to think differently and look differently about? And the willingness to look at those things and challenge we've always done it that way, but now we're not going to do it that way. We're going to try something else. And we've been remarkably successful with that. But again, it does come back, like you said, to the foundation of the house is solid. The foundation of the house is those core values, and remembering those and using those things to guide your decision making every day.
Well, it sounds, even though difficult, so many employees, so many stores, so many conditions, it sounds incredibly successful. And as a part of that leadership team, as long as you've been there, and I know you're not just doing the people stuff, you're also thinking through the strategy. That doesn't mean that, the other executives that you work with aren't fabulous. It's just, I know that your impact there has been huge. And how wonderful to work for an environment that does walk its talk.
It's true. I mean, I hope my impact's been huge. You never know. You get up every day with a lot of energy and you try to make things better. And I do really try to think about the business first and then how the people component can serve the business rather than the other way. I mean, I wake up and go to bed thinking about people, but in the context of where are we going as a business and how are we gonna serve that? So,
well, if the business doesn't exist, you can't employ the people.
Exactly.
So you've got to keep, and that's that balancing act. So, I'm just curious. One of the questions I ask folks sometimes is, what do you think leaders need now in this day and age? And you've described a lot of characteristics where you are, but is there something that stands out for you that would be what you think leaders need?
I think in today's world, I think leaders need resilience. I think they need patience. I think they need empathy. We've talked a lot about empathy here. I think they need compassion. And, we've talked about examples of when you really need that compassion. I also think you need creativity and innovation because if you're standing still, you're rolling backwards. So I think you got to keep moving forward. I always say to people, you got to keep your foot on the gas, because if you let up on the gas, what happens is the car rolls backwards, right? You got to keep your foot on the gas. You got to keep moving forward and you got to keep challenging those norms that might have been the way things have been, but not the way things that'll serve us. What got you here won't get you there. I think there's a book with that title. And I think it's that. And then I think that we are in a constant state of evolution. I think I think personally we're in a constant state of evolution as we go through different periods in our lives and decades in our life. I think in my family is in a constant state of evolution. I think our business is in a constant state of evolution. I think the retail industry is constantly evolving. I think the country is constantly evolving and certainly in a state of evolution currently. And I think globally we're in a state of evolution. So I think we've got to get comfortable with that, comfortable with always evolving. And I don't think we stand still. I think we keep evolving. And then there's one other thought I have that is not incongruous with all of this, but I think we can't forget about mental health and well being. I think, given that constant state of change, a constant state of evolution, and all the things that are required of us, and all these points of input coming at us every day, I think more and more, and we really take this seriously as an organization, and I'm lucky to have a CEO and other senior leaders who really embrace it as well, the importance of mental health and well-being, and the whole concept of putting your own oxygen mask on first so that you can help others, taking care of oneself and taking care of and really recognizing where you are and how you're feeling so that you can, I think as leaders, boy, there's a lot of pressure today. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of inputs. We need to be consciously aware of where we are in it. COVID was a great example of that, right? I had leaders in our stores tell me, gosh, Mindy, this job was already hard. I had lots of different inputs and lots of different things going on in my store every day and lots of different people and products and the volume and the chaos of it all. And now I'm carrying the load of people and the stories they're bringing me are so sad and so heavy, and the struggles people are experiencing as a result of COVID and losing family members and losing children and losing parents and not knowing about the future and worrying about things that it was, I could see it, I could hear it, I heard the stories, I saw it, the heavy burden people were carrying as leaders for their teams and the love they were carrying for their teams and their people and the compassion. And so I think it's all of that. It's those business, pieces combined. That's why I said it's congruous. It's not incongruous. It fits together. It's the combination of those things that allow you to make the business better and more agile and more creative and more innovative, along with the recognizing you can't do without the people, and where are your people and how are they feeling and what do they need and how can we help them?
That's so powerful, really powerful. I think you're calling out a condition that I'm picking up, certainly we all are, in environments where the pressures on leaders and on people just seem to be amping up. COVID brought it into a very extreme relief, right? It was just like, oh my gosh, now what? For so many reasons in so many situations. And I think that oxygen mask first for leaders, how can you take care of others like you were talking about? You get up every day, how can I help? How can I be a good team member? How can I be of service? Well, if you are falling apart, I don't mean you, Mindy, but any one of us, if we're falling apart, if we're not caring for ourselves, we can't ultimately be there for people. We can't even muster the empathy, right? That you've been talking about. And so, to hold each other without, losing sight of the business goals, without losing sight of realities. But I think people sometimes they click off. They feel like the power, the stress of feeling for others is so great that they don't want to feel anymore.
It's totally true. So, can I tell you another little quick
Yeah,
anecdote?
love your
So,
stories.
we have I think 18 stores now in Australia. We're really proud of that business, and it's really exciting to see them grow and blossom and develop. And they're doing tremendous work. And they have something in Australia every year called "Are You Okay Day,"
Ah,
and it's sponsored by the government in Australia. It is really that big of a deal, and they provide tools and resources and all this stuff. And the whole concept is to take a break. They even talk about using Kit Kat bars. Give me a break, a Kit Kat break. And the
yeah.
idea of taking a break and asking people, "Are you okay?" And figuring out, to stop and take a moment and to do that. And then the government provides all these resources and training and tools and et cetera. And I got to thinking this last year, that's cool. Okay, we don't have that in North America. And the tools that they provide are primarily focused on Australian, but I really like the concept. So this year we're all celebrating Are You Okay Day?
Ah,
With a nod to our Australian team members. And because I really like to embrace the concept of, what, we do all need to stop for a moment and ask people and understand, how do you ask that question in a way that will elicit an honest response? And what if they say, "No, I'm not. What do I do?" And so the training and the tools and the other things that we've been working on over the course of the last couple of years anyway, to make sure that people know what to do and they know what signs to look for and they know how to ask the question, and they can offer people a Kit Kat bar or a roll of lifesavers that says, sometimes, you might be saving a life by just asking people if they're okay at the right moment in time. And so to this whole conversation about taking care of our own self first, and asking ourselves how we are feeling, are we okay? And then asking the people to our left and right and in front of us and behind us, are you okay? And taking the moment to do that, I'm super excited about it. And so also just an odd coincidence and maybe serendipitous, but this year, Are You Okay Day falls on September 11th.
oh my goodness.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
I mean, it
that,
changes a little bit here.
synchronistic, very synchronous.
Exactly. So this year, I'm really proud to say that we are globally celebrating Are You Okay Day on September 11th. I think it's
Well,
pretty.
I hope people take to heart what you're saying and carry this into their own organizations and even into their teams if they can't bring it to their entire organizations. As you know, that's, foundational of the work that we do. We always
Exactly.
want to understand, but to understand that it's at the level of need, yeah, we were all relieved that COVID wasn't in, the foreground as strongly, but the world today, is a lot to cope with, as you so eloquently articulated. And so to really keep that at the forefront, that the difference, saving a life, like you said, the difference of knowing someone actually cares can make a huge difference in people's lives.
And people tell me that all the time. Thank you for being a company that cares. Thank you. And even people that are exiting the organization, I've gotten the loveliest letters from people. A guy who left the organization this last year, and 6 months before he decided to exit the organization, his wife was having surgery. He lost a parent. He had all this crisis. And I was sitting next to him at a dinner. And I remember saying, "What do you need? How can we help you?" And then I sent him a couple emails saying, "I'm checking in on you. I'm wondering how you are." And he wrote me the most lovely note when he decided to leave. He said, "I want you to know that, what an impact it made on me, that you showed so much care, that this company truly cares about its people." And I think that's maybe certainly not the only, but a definition of success.
Oh, that's a fantastic story, and it's gratifying to know that what we do actually makes a difference, and so
Exactly.
for you to get that back, those stories are great bookends. The one you shared, of course, about the layoff and then them giving you a party and then this one. I I mean, these are just perfect examples of how to make a difference as a leader, not only to the success of the business, but also to the increasing of humanity inside of our culture, because we need to realize, everybody goes through tough stuff, but we need to, if we do it together.
Exactly. And I think everybody, like I said, everyone defines success a little differently. And I mean, some people in their life, it could be about money, it could be about fame, it could be about title, it could be about role, it could be, for me, it is about making an impact on people and, the legacy that you leave, the impact that you make, the imprint that you leave. I think those for me are the measures of success.
Fantastic. I thank you so much for sharing yourself with me and with us today and your journey. I've known you so long and I keep learning more and more. So it's a wonderful legacy that you're creating, Mindy. Thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so, again, honored and feel like I'm in good company with someone with whom I have so much respect. The history and, our friendship and our professional relationship and the mentorship that you've offered me over the years has helped shape where I am today.
Well, I'm thrilled to hear that and know I've learned the most from my leaders and you. We've had a constant connection, so there's no question that I've learned so much from you as well. And it's evident from this conversation why I would have. So thank you.
Such fun.
Thank you for listening. To hear more conversations with leaders, please subscribe to The Toughest Choice wherever you listen to podcasts. For updates, please connect with me on LinkedIn. This is Stephanie Reynolds. Thanks for listening.